Rube.
Hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I guess last month you guys put out a statement that the Steelers weren't going to participate, and now that's obviously changed. What is that?
Multitude of things. I don't think it was ever. I think when we first came out with the statement, if we had stayed under the old rules and not having that cooperation with both the organization and the players, we couldn't have got it done. But a month later, we were able to, iron out some things and put both the players at player sanity at a low, and players were still given the opportunity to understand that was mandatory. Not mandatory, but it was voluntary. But this is an ever-going process. I don't think you ever just plant your feet down and say we're not going to do this. We were able to work through stuff, and I appreciate everybody for working with us.
Dale Lawley, DK.
Yeah, Cam, I was just wondering if you got any concessions, or if you talked to anybody with the Steelers to get any concessions or anything like that, about what you guys would or would not be asked to do.
Yeah, I think we had our leadership council, talked to our higher ups, and Coach T, Mr. Rooney, Kevin Colbert, and we just talked about whether it was the safety of trying to have guys who were flying across country get 2 negatives to even start the process. That was one thing that was completely abolished, especially when not everybody is vaccinated. We understood that things have changed, and now we're playing a 17th game, and our main thing was, let's not beat our bodies up. Let's approach this the right way, where we have a ramp-up period in that guys are learning and guys are taking advantage of this time. And I wanted to make sure we never ostracized the guys that went in. We had a lot of guys that loved being in, and we had to show this front that we didn't want to jeopardize that. And I think we did a great job of just being open and honest with to everybody, and making sure we didn't have a lot of contact. Right now, I don't think contact's that big. Minicamp's a different thing, but OTAs, I think it's a big time for learning. And a lot of young guys tend to improve in this time, whether it's first year or second year guys. So this time is really about getting those guys up to speed and, teaching these guys. Coach T's main thing was, I want to see guys how well they're conditioned. And doing that, we've been able to run, we've been able to coach, listen, learn. And when you have those right ingredients now, I think it's going to benefit us.
Richie Walsh, KDK.
Cam, I know it's a fine line here, but were you happy with the participation? And is this like the first time it maybe feels normal out there for you guys?
Yeah, I'm happy with participation. Happy whoever shows up. It doesn't really matter who shows up. If we're going to be here, we're going to take advantage of this time. And it's going to change constantly. I think I said it before, you just can't plant your feet and say, this is just going to happen this way. We learned from last year that you had to be you had to be able to adapt to different situations. But, we'll keep going. Guys are going to come in and out. And this is a voluntary period. I don't think we've ever judged guys off of attending a voluntary period. So, when we get to minicamp, I think we'll have full 100% participation, but I don't really worry about that.
Brooke Pryor, ESPN.
Yeah, Cam, kind of along those lines, it seemed like there were some position groups that had a fewer number of guys than others. Are those position groups, especially if they're on the offensive side and they're learning new concepts with the new offense, are they at a disadvantage for not being here, or are those some of the guys that you would anticipate to kind of come in and out throughout this?
If they weren't here, it doesn't really matter. I think we've had guys in before this time. So, we just haven't been able to really publicize it, but, guys have been coming in, and, wherever they're working, they're getting good work. We never have to worry about that with our guys. We've, I think our level of communication has improved during the pandemic. where, you know, you don't just depend on a facility to provide everything you need. And that's huge for us now. I can tell you, shoot, last year, I didn't know how to set up a workout by myself, but, you know, you get really good at it and you get used to a familiarity to it. You know, you're able to do it by yourself. And guys are, you know, working out together, working on things, whether it's, you know, O-linemen, wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks, organizing things. And I think we're having that communication outside the building is going to be huge for us down the road.
Mark Cavalli, The Athletic.
Hey, Cam, change gears a little bit. I know last week you were pretty vocal defending your quarterback then. Why did you feel the need? I'm assuming you heard all the offseason chatter about him and how people don't think he's going to be any good this year. Why did you feel the need to come to his defense, and how did he look out there today?
Man, I think we're just blowing it out of proportion. The dude went 11-0 to start the season. How many other quarterbacks did that? And, you know, I think we can sit up here and talk about, you know, we lost the game last year. You know, we lost to the Cleveland Browns. Okay, so be it. We fell off at the end. We still made the playoffs. But I'm not here to, you know, say my quarterback's not able to do it. I've seen this guy win Super Bowls on TV. I've seen him day in and day out compete. And, you know, you just get frustrated because, you know, I know Ben puts in work and I know how much he cares about this team. If he didn't want to do it and he didn't, you know, if he was just here for the money, that's one thing. And I don't think we would ever have to worry about that. But when he steps in this building, he's 100% dedicated to this. So when I hear the bad mouthing about him being, you know, a not great quarterbacks, and then everybody's ready to elevate other quarterbacks, I'm like, what have they done? You know, this guy is a proven winner, but yet we're ready to discount him. All I was saying was, you know, I think having a greater balance is going to make him that more dangerous. You know, you bring in guys, and I know our offensive line is in flux, but, you know, they're going to be better because they're learning a different system. We bring in another running back. We bring in, you know, our receivers are a year older. Bring in another tight end. All these different things I think can help Ben. And, you know, I'm excited for him. You know, as a defense, when the offense can stay on the field, that lets us know that we're okay. When the offense isn't on the field and we're on the field, that means we gotta kick butt. But when the offense is on the field, we can totally get after it.
Jerry Dulac, Post-Gazette.
Hello, Cam. Was it important
What's up?
I'm well. Was it important for you and Ben to be here on the first day? And what was the message, if any, that you delivered to your veteran players about OTAs and attending?
I don't know if it's, you know, I don't put a lot of stock into this. I think, you know, we can benefit from it, but if a guy's not here and you know, chooses to go elsewhere, that's not a big deal to me. You know, the guys that aren't here are usually veterans who have been in the system. But, you know, for me and Ben, it's like we try to cultivate relationships right now. We try to learn different guys that are new positions. And that just comes with time. You know, I think there's growth that can happen for a younger guy to, you know, talking to our older guys, and the younger guys like to emulate older guys during this time. But, you know, going forward, I tell my guys, you know, this is voluntary. I'm not really, you know, I know everybody's working, which puts me at an ease, but I'm not going to put all my eggs in a basket for, you know, a voluntary period. This is the time to learn, and, you know, the virtual meetings are what, and then you have your field work. But every guy in this building and outside this building, I know is putting their best foot forward. You know, the conversations I have, you know, guys can get good work wherever they go. It's just about where they feel like they need to be.
Alan Saunders, Pittsburgh Sports Now.
You mentioned it a little bit earlier, but how much did the 17th game, how much does that kind of change the math for you about how and how much and how often you want to exert yourself and go through contact in the off season?
Man, I think it was just an overdue thing that needed to be changed. When you talk about our off-season work, you know, 17th game is, you know, it's funny. We get a 17th game and they say they shorten our preseason, but then we have the Hall of Fame game. So it's not really like we're shortening anything for us. You know, we just gain an extra game, but you know, we just have to be smart. whether it's reps now and, during team camp, you just want to, it's a war of attrition already. Let's add a little bit more bang to it. So, those hits on the body, well, I was talking to a coach out there, usually this first day, there's already a separated shoulder or, a torn hamstring, but that's always been the nature of the game. But that doesn't prevent you from growing and adapting this game to make sure everybody stays healthy and is ready for week 1.
Jeff Hawthorne, 93.7.
Hey, Cam, you mentioned a message or that you wanted to cultivate relationships. There are a lot of new players here, obviously a lot of rookies. What's your message to them about your expectations?
I don't know how much expectations you go into this time. I think you really start to narrow it down when you get to, training camp. But I think mini camp, you see what guys look like going full speed. But training camp, you say, what can this guy do for this team now? I don't like there's so much time that can be put into this that if you rush it and think, oh, I got to be the perfect player right now, you're not really going to learn too much. And I think learning is the main thing for young guys. I was not fortunate enough to have a mini camp and, the OTAs my first year because we were the lockout. And, my main thing was wherever I went, I was, be a sponge, be open to learning. You're in a different situation where you might have only played 13 games in a season. Now you're going to play 17 in the regular season. And then 4 preseason games on top of that. It's a war of attrition. So understand how guys prepare their bodies, their minds, and just get used to being in the flow of NFL football. It's a different space, and you just got to be willing to learn.
Tim Benz, Trim.
Cam, a couple questions ago, you mentioned that sort of complementary football angle of how the offense could help the defense. Mike talks about that a lot too, as it relates to pass rush and coverage. You lost Bud, you lost Nelson, you lost Hilton. Can you talk about a little bit how that complementary football sort of aspect is challenged this year with some of those guys gone from your defense and the options you have to replace those guys?
Yeah, it's always a challenge. You lose guys, great guys every year. That's the nature of the game. Everybody in this league should be paid, the highest amount. That's what I think, because the amount of work you put in should benefit you, what you put on the field. But this creates an opportunity for guys to step in. Alex Highsmith is the guy I look at. His second year, he really got to play his first year, and this is the second year where we look for him to blossom. A guy like Cam Sutton, who's always been our utility guy, be able to put the nickel, the slot, the dime. Well, now let's see if he can play, full-time corner outside. You look at a guy like James Pierre stepping in. These are guys that were, depth pieces last year that now we get to elevate to the next step. But now our depth gets questioned. But, this is an opportunity for those guys to step up. And I think the coaches are going to understand that. I think we find good depth by using this time out here and, getting ready for mini camps and, training camp. I don't worry about it, but I'm excited about it. This is the chance for new guys to step up.
Will Graves, Associated Press.
Cam, just one more thing about the participation stuff. For the guys that aren't there, was it your understanding that it had nothing to do with any of the protocol stuff, and it was just like, hey, man, I'm just going to kind of do my thing, and I'll be there at minicamp? Was that the vibe that you got from those guys?
It's just I think guys have gotten accustomed to, training elsewhere. Everybody's got great routines now, and the pandemic has created that. Now more than ever, players are having that freedom to really choose. We're the only league that has this type of, participation in an off-season program. Most guys, look at basketball. Basketball, you're playing pickup and you're doing your own drills elsewhere. I think you can learn so much here, but it doesn't hurt to learn something from somebody new. There are great coaches, and I love our guys because they understand what's going to get you better. They're not just going to go with, the newest and freshest thing out there, the guy who's, just trying to get his name out there that might just get you hurt. These guys are, investing in themselves. You know, James Harrison, look at that guy. That guy would always travel across country to Arizona to go train. You know, that was his regiment. He understood it and he applied it to, you know, Steeler football. You know, I think guys are more accustomed to doing that now.
Aditi Kinkabala, NFL Network.
Hey, Cam.
Hey.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. Thank you. When you look at, Richie kind of asked this earlier, even though you said this is really not contact, it's just about learning or conditioning, what is the value of actually being with each other as opposed to being entirely virtually like you were a year ago? What's specifically different and can you sense it? And does it make a difference to you? Like, was it fun getting in the car?
Well, like, I'll be honest with you, virtual blows. Like, it's not anything like, you know, like I would love to see you guys in person, but, you know, I think when you look at like just installing stuff and learning, you really don't get to know someone knows like or grasps like what's really going on. You know, when you have that in meeting time and you're able to just, you know, rap with your coach and just, coach, I don't really understand it. Let's go over that one more time. You can't really go through that in a virtual setting. And this is just we're not at normal. We're getting to normal, but this is just something we're growing through. You know, it's one thing to just get in your car and listen to a virtual meeting. It's another thing to be in the meeting and be present. And I think that goes a long way. And I think multiple teams are going through it. You know, it's just something we're adapting to this year.
Brian Batko, Post-Gazette.
Yeah, Cam, I guess kind of building on that, relating to that, I saw that you did a vaccine PSA not too long ago. I know it's kind of a sensitive issue around the NFL. Obviously, it's a personal choice, but the league's incentivizing it, especially with those in-person meeting restrictions being lifted. I mean, as a team captain and the PA rep, I mean, how are you handling that vaccination discussion with your teammates if and when it comes up?
You know, I think everybody has to make that decision personally. I can vouch for it and say I got the vaccine because, you know, my family, you know, with my current situation, I have bad asthma. I have bad allergies. You know, when I was a kid, I was always in the hospital to begin with. So I just thought to myself, I don't want to give another reason why. But that's everybody's political, you know, not political belief, but, you know, belief towards it. You know, everybody's had different situations. My grandpa passed away before, you know, during the pandemic. And he was just scared to even go to the hospital. So, you know, everybody's got their own story. And I can't think for them. All I can do is provide them the information and let them make a choice of their own. And I think guys have been doing that. You know, some guys have gotten COVID and are wondering, do I get the shot now? And so they need to understand that and understand why and when they should be getting the shot.
All right, I'm going to get to the last two and then we'll let you go. Ray Fittipaldo, Post-Gazette.
Hey, Cam. Is the union and for the Steelers specifically, are you comfortable with the injury protection for players who do choose to train outside of the facility? Was that part of it negotiated on your part?
It wasn't really negotiated. You know, I do know there's been a history with the Steelers. If a guy's gotten hurt, they've tried to honor it for the most part. It's beyond me that we're training outside the facility for our jobs can't get covered for, injuries. I think that's one thing that needs to be addressed soon, because I think at the end of the day, we're all just working towards one goal, and you shouldn't be penalized if you're out anywhere just trying to work on your game.
Brooke, did you have a question or no?
No, Ray asked my question. I'm good.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Cam.
Thank you, Angie.